This is Connected Threads, Season 2 of the Happily Living podcast. I'm your host, Gabrielle Brown, and in this season, we explore the interconnections between ourselves and nature, including how cultural practices, technologies, and lifestyles impact the environment and ourselves. The season of grace, knowing how to be kind to ourselves in the things we do eco-consciously, but not giving ourselves too much hardship over the things we are still working on. Welcome to the Happily Living crew as we continue on this journey in being our better selves. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, I'm excited to welcome a special guest to today's episode, Janie Groeling, a proud 2022 graduate of Virginia Tech. Janie blends her degrees in communications and psychology with a heartfelt passion for wildlife advocacy. With 155.9 thousand followers on TikTok and 28.9 thousand on Instagram, she's becoming a leading voice in the hermit crab community, sharing invaluable insights on how we can better care for these often misunderstood creatures. Janie's content not only highlights the harsh realities of the hermit crab pet trade, but also encourages us to think twice before purchasing one from souvenir shops. She shares her journey of caring for 5 hermit crabs, Tito, Steely, Peony, Scooter, and the infamous Norton, providing them with the nutritious diets and proper environments they need to thrive. Welcome, Janie. I'm so glad to have you here today. I love that video where you mentioned Norton was molting and he couldn't have raisins yet, and you're like, he's gonna be pissed at me.
Hi, well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, Norton's a picky boy. He loves his raisins, so he was a little upset with me that I fed the group raisins while he was not above ground, but he's forgiven me since then, so it's all good now.
Do they all live together in this? Because I know you were talking about the 10-gallon per hermit crab, and like if you have more, you need a bigger space. Do they all live together, or just depends?
So yeah, the rule of thumb is 10 gallons per hermit crab. So I have a 55-gallon tank plus a 25-gallon topper, so it's 80 gallons.
Wow.
But you want to go by the base tank. So my base tank's 55 gallons. So I have 5 hermit crabs, so I should have at least 50 gallons of space for them.
Okay.
So all 5 do live in the 55-gallon. Norton's currently molting still, so he's in a different tank right now.
Okay.
I never got to transfer him over because he was still underground while I built up the 55-gallon. So he's still molting in his 40-gallon tank. But when Norton is up from his molt and I put him back in the 55-gallon with the rest, I plan on adopting more. So in my 40-gallon tank, I could house comfortably up to 4 hermit crabs.
Oh my gosh, that's so sick. Wow.
Yeah,
So
it's exciting. Yeah.
you started, I saw a picture of you when you were like younger. You posted on your stories recently, actually. And
Yeah.
you're like, I didn't quite know back then, but like I do now. And so when you were younger, like this started when you were younger, or when did this whole hermit crab trilogy start for you?
Yeah, so growing up in New Jersey, I spent a lot of my summers down at the Jersey Shore. And unfortunately, the beach shops down there, they all sell these hermit crabs, unfortunately. And as a kid, as a 5-year-old, of course, I got one. I mean, they're marketed to kids down there, unfortunately, when they really aren't for kids. But, anyways, got my hermit crabs as a kid, fell in love with them, have always been a huge animal lover, but hermit crabs really just special place in my heart. I'm not sure why, but just hermit crabs my entire life. I've just had a special place in my heart for. And then in high school again, about over 7 years ago now, I was down the shore and I was just like, what if I just get hermit crabs again? And I still knew not nearly anything that I should know at that time, but I did get hermit crabs. And then that's when I really spiraled down the hermit crab rabbit hole with proper care, where they come from, the truth of the industry. And ever since then, I really found my biggest passion in life, which is to be a voice for these voiceless creatures that are so, they're marketed incorrectly. They're marketed as easy, beginners, souvenir pets, disposable, don't live long. And that's all the furthest from the truth. So ever since then, I've just really become this big hermit crab advocate, and I just want to make a difference for these innocent animals that deserve better.
That's so sick. Like, not only finding your passion, right? Because I feel like so many people don't even know what they want to do, but
Yeah.
also like just really living that, living in that moment and getting to do something and fight for something that you really believe in will also just truly love and just kind of like wrap yourself
Hmm.
around. Like that's so
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
Wow.
very lucky that I know what I want to do with my life. I just have
Yeah.
to figure out how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's the phase I'm in now as a somewhat recent post grad,
Of
but
course.
we'll
Yeah.
see. The world is my oyster.
Yes, exactly. I am right there with you. I feel like with my passion and I've had people ask me about the podcast. They're like, "Have you always known you wanted to do that?" And I'm like, "No, it literally came in within a year and then thinking about it and whatever and then I just did it and it was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty sick." So, just talking about things or advocating for something or going with your passion is so energizing. Like I
Yeah,
feel like it's
exactly.
really fun. So I saw you made Norton, probably others too, I'm sure. But you made him a charcuterie board. Like, tell us about that. What a charcuterie board. I love that.
Yeah, so I never called it a charcuterie board until I saw comments calling it like a crab charcuterie board or a crab tutory board or whatever people would say. But I thought it was really cute. But their dinners each night, how I prepare them, it's just like little bits of everything. So there's like I usually put like 6 to maybe even 10 different food options. So it just looks like a charcuterie board basically,
Mm-hmm.
as their dinner. But people seem to love that because I make a lot of feed my hermit crabs with me videos.
Yeah.
And yeah, their little dinners are so cutely set up. But yeah, I think that's where the term crab charcuterie board came from.
That's sick. Yeah, because I feel like when people have that insight into the crowd world, like just being able to watch you on TikTok or watch you on
Hmm.
Instagram and like see your day-to-day lifestyle taking care of hermit crabs, it's really fun. Like you get to be a part of it even though you could be 800 miles away or something. So
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
fact that you were able to make that platform and people just went after it is super cool. Like that's so sick.
It's a
And
very niche thing that
yeah.
people don't think about. So like when it comes up on your page, you're like hermit crabs. Like I didn't know they ate steak or I didn't know they required this kind of setup. So I think people are really interested in that aspect since they're marketed as just these easy pets that just
Yeah.
belong in a plastic mesh wired
Yeah.
cage.
And it's like some
Yeah.
rinky dink thing that like kids can have as 2-year-olds. And it's like,
Hmm.
no, these are legit species that like I would see in Malaysia. Like I was like, oh my gosh. Like this is so sick. They're in their environment. They're just doing their thing. They're all collectively like together. And
Hmm.
I was like, people really take everything from the environment and just put it in a pet store. Like betta
Yeah,
fish are from some river in Brazil or
I
like
know.
South America, and yet we have them in pet stores. But like no one knows that all these pets, these exotic pets, are like actually from the wild. Like they can thrive on their own because it's not
Yeah,
like educated to us at all.
I know. And they're just like keyword exotic animals. Like they're not domesticated here, they're not native here, and yet why are they marketed as easy pets?
Right.
That's not the case at all. So, and
Exactly.
people don't realize that hermit crabs are exotic pets, just like as like a betta fish. I mean, betta fish aren't treated well at all in the pet stores either. Like they're right there with hermit crabs with how cruel the industry treats them.
Yeah.
But like snakes, lizards, like they're at least looked at like, okay, these are high maintenance, expensive animals to take care of.
Yeah.
But hermit crabs and betta fish, like they need to be up there too, but they're
Yeah.
marketed otherwise.
And I keep saying it's so cool, but it's hard to describe it in any other light. Like, it's really cool that you were able to basically push past, because I feel like we would get so much negative feedback on, like, okay, like, who's going to be interested in this? Or who's going to, like, how are we going to make something out of this? And yet you continued, right? With, like, I saw you made flyers for the beaches and like you have QR codes and a link to sites of what people can do for education or outreach or whatever to help hermit crabs in the whole industry. And I'm like, this is so awesome. This is so cool. Like, you are creating a splash in the water, I guess you could call it, with
Mhm.
something that hasn't been fully recognized yet. Like, not, like TikTok became overly abundant with after Addison Rae and the dancer girl
Mhm.
and all this stuff. And so it kind of just got melted a little bit, like just too much overflow. But
Yeah.
then, like, with no space about hermit crabs, like, you are starting something that doesn't have a whole lot there, and you're going to be the face of this. Like, that is so sick.
Yeah, it's very true. There wasn't, I mean, to my surprise, I didn't realize how many hermit crab owners there really are out there, and let alone like people posting about their hermit crabs. But I think there was a gap in the social media market for hermit crab proper care and advocation. And that's kind of just where I found my niche. I didn't plan on doing this. I just
Right.
one day made the TikTok. I posted about a bee first, rescuing a bee, and that ended up going viral. And, and then my second post was about the hermit crabs, and people really liked that. And then I realized, wait, I could use my platform to like actually educate people on hermit crabs because that's not really out there, at least on social media, that I've really seen
Yeah.
much of. So that's kind of just where I guess my social media start happened with the hermit crabs and just kind of ran with it.
Yeah. And that's so sick. And I feel like, I don't even know that much about hermit crabs. Right. And so, like, having that site or having that form of not basically, because I don't love it when people are like, okay, like, I was told this, and so I'm just going to go with it.
Mhm.
But like, when you're given a lot more to it, right? Because you provide all these different things and support and various links and whatever that kind of back up what you're saying. So people have that opportunity to go to you to better educate themselves because, like you said,
Mhm.
there's not that much out there. So, how did you kind of go through that rabbit hole? How did you learn what is good for their nutrition, what can not be so great?
Yeah, so there is a whole hermit crab community out there, which I didn't know for like the first half of my like hermit crab journey. And so there's the Land Hermit Crab Owner Society, and they have a whole Facebook group, and they are extremely helpful. Like it's filled with experts, with people that have been caring for hermit crabs for many years, know all the in and outs. So luckily, I have become friends with a lot of them, and I have them as a resource. And I even go to them for questions, even if a follower asks me a question that I'm not sure about. I
Yeah,
don't feel comfortable giving them an answer I'm not sure on. So I'll go to my Land Hermit Crab Owners Society friends, ask them, get back to my follower, and so on. Or I'll just provide them links with other resources such as the Land Hermit Crab Owners Society or the Crab Street Journal. Those are good resources.
that's actually kind of
And
funny.
just like over time in this community, making friends, learning more, I have just developed just this plethora of hermit crab knowledge. And I'm still learning every single day myself. There's
Right.
always so much more to learn. But there are really great resources out there, and I have them. I linked them in my link tree in my bio for followers to use too,
Yeah.
because I just think it's a great asset to have as a hermit crab owner
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
awesome. And
Hmm.
so, when you started about, you said 7 years ago, when you went back into it, who was your first crab? Was it Norton? Was that Norton?
So the originals are no longer with us,
Okay,
which
that's
is
why
very,
I kind of thought, but
yeah, because that again, that was before I really knew anything. Two of them actually lived multiple years, like probably until a few years ago. So they did a good job, but or sorry, I did a good job with them, but they
yeah.
didn't. I still wasn't at the peak of my care, and I had so much better I could have done. And I'm really hard on myself for that because it's so sad that
Yeah.
I should have done better for them.
I
But
uh
I just simply didn't know at the time.
I was the same way when I had rabbits in high school. I had
Hmm.
to basically advocate for one because they were meat rabbits, so they were just going to be sold to someone who was going to eat them. And like, we had done a class project. We had made an Instagram for this like animal that we had because we had different ones. Like, this was a pre-vet track, like we would take care of the animals. So we had made this Instagram for Carson, who is mine, but at the
Mhm.
moment was going to be sold for someone to eat, and I didn't even know that. And so I was like taking care of him. That's how I got Carson. And I had a couple more rabbits, and we built this pen. It was like an 8 foot long by 4 feet tall pen, and like it was super cool. But I'm still so hard on myself about the things that I didn't do that I know now,
Mhm.
because I feel like they could have lived so much better. But in reality, like, we did so much better than what they
Yeah.
typically are given. And I think that, like, it's so much easier said than done to like give yourself grace for that period,
Yeah,
because I
it's
still go
true.
through it. But even with dogs or whatever, it's like when we care so much, like, I feel like we're very similar in that caring aspect of animal advocacy, or just trying to give them the best life that they can under domestication.
Yeah,
We are so hard on ourselves.
that's very true. I know I
Yeah.
gave them like a much better than they probably could have had,
Yeah.
depending on who else they were sold to, or if they just died in those beat shops.
Yeah.
But Norton, I got only 2 months after that
Okay.
the originals I got that very first time. So Norton's been here basically the entire time for 7+ years. Um, and then the other four that I have adopted through previous owners throughout time.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Norton's basically the OG. He's been here for 7+ years. So I'm Norton's lived through my beginner care all the way to what I have now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he's happy.
Yeah, I definitely think he's happy. He's also TikTok famous, like he I feel like we definitely anthropomorphize animals. Like, we give them this, like, we'll talk to pets, and we'll
Yes.
think that that's what they're saying, and like we have no idea if they're even remotely thinking that, but like it gives us that kind of connection. And I feel like Norton's a pretty sick dude. Like, he's chill.
He's so chill.
Yeah, like, he's molting, he's just living his life.
He
He'll get
is. He
raisins
is.
again. It'll be good.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
So,
He's a spoiled little boy for sure.
so what are the other ones? Like, give me the order and their names.
We got Norton, which we know, and
Mm-hmm.
then we got Scooter.
Okay.
Scooter is probably as big as Norton now.
Wow.
He's a big boy, but I got him just as a little baby. And actually, when I rescued him from a previous owner, he was still in a painted shell, just like straight from a beach shop. He was pale. And there was a point after like a few weeks of having him, I thought he was gonna die. Like
Yeah.
he couldn't eat by himself. He couldn't like he had no energy to move. So like every night for a few weeks, I would hand feed him. I would get a little bottle cap of water and put it in front of him. And I basically nursed Scooter back to health because now he's big, strong, and living his best life.
He's a big
So
Jack.
yeah, Scooter's a little miracle baby for sure.
Aw.
And then we have Tito. He is most known as like the pretty purple one that I have.
Okay.
He became this beautiful, like bright lavender color after a molt one time, and that I've never seen before. So he knows he looks good. He acts like it too. But he's scared of his own shadow, but that's okay. He's safe here. And then we have Peony. Peeny's favorite color is green because literally every single shell Peony has ever been in has been green. He will
Interesting.
only pick green shells. I'm not sure why, but my favorite color is green too. So me and Peony, we bond over that. And then we have little Steely, who is my most recent rescue. I rescued him a little over a year ago,
Okay.
and he's the baby of the group, but he's grown a lot. He is not scared of anything despite being so tiny and the smallest of the bunch. And he is always on his little hamster wheel, just getting his steps in. He is just constant energy. He's always out and about, but he has a pretty bold personality for his size, so that's cute.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love how each one is so connected to you in a different way. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
super sick. I was not expecting that. I didn't have any expectations, but I was not expecting that. And they have a hamster wheel. So tell me about the
Yeah,
setup you have in their tank,
yeah,
and
they're
what
10.
each one kind of helps mimic their environment.
Yeah, so we have two water pools. a freshwater pool, a saltwater pool. It's important they have access to both because in the wild they have fresh water from like rain, and that's what they like to drink, and then the salt water from the ocean, which they like to bathe in, soak in, and it's just really healthy for them with minerals. And each pool should be deep enough to where they can fully submerge, but also be able to get in and out easily because they are land hermit crabs. They could drown if they're stuck underwater.
Okay.
Also, it's very important that we have heat pads and a completely sealed plexiglass or glass lid. We want to mimic a tropical environment from the Caribbean area. That's where they're native to. And so we want to try to do 80% humidity, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything around that is ideal. And those heat pads and completely sealed lid will get us there. And then we got, of course, deep substrate. You should have minimum 6 inches of substrate, and substrate should be made of play sand and eco earth. It should be like sandcastle consistency. So if you were to like play with that sand, you could mold a sandcastle, basically. That's so when they dig underground to go molting, their tunnels won't collapse around them. They'll hold their shape. So the tunnels won't suffocate them if the sand were to like collapse around them. And lots of climbing, lots of hiding accessories. We want to mimic like a foresty environment from where they came. Lots of leaf litter. They love to munch and play and snuggle in the leaf litter. And they are natural animals of prey. So we want to make sure we provide lots of hiding spaces for them so they can feel safe and comfortable during the day because they are also nocturnal animals. So they will come out mainly just at night and hide and sleep during the day. So it's important we provide those hiding spaces, but also providing lots of climbing enrichment, like little toys. I have a little ball for that I can put like food in, and they'll like climb over the ball and try to pick the food. It's like a I don't even know the word, like a stimulating toy that you would give to dogs. Like I have that for the hermit crabs, and they are huge climbers, so they love to climb, they love to play, they love to explore, they love their wheel. They walk many miles a day in the wild, so that wheel can help get their steps in. But that's just like a basic rundown. Oh, of course, shells have lots of shells provided for them. It's important that they have a variety of shells to choose from. As they grow, they can switch into different shells, or they simply just find one that's a better fit. And so they don't feel the need to compete for resources. So it's good to have an abundance of resources and space and climbing and hiding and all that, just so they can all feel safe and be able to share and not feel the need to compete for survival, basically.
Yeah. I have so many questions. So, what decides whether or not they can live together? When you get different ones at different times, you know, with them all being male, right? They kind of have that territorial instinct, right? Especially with shells, like you said. So, I know that you said that you provide them shelves and enough shells and enough space so that way they don't kind of have that need to. But with the introduction, how does the introduction process go?
Yeah, so first, my hermit crabs, I just say they're all he's, just because, fun fact, hermit crabs can change genders when they molt,
No
which
way.
I didn't know until this last year, apparently. And I think that's just so cool.
Yeah.
But so there's really like no point in like,
Right.
and
saying
also
he
checking
or
is an
she.
invasive process. Like we don't want to, it's like under their abdomens and they would have to come out of their shell for us to see. So it's an invasive process to even check their gender. So
Okay.
I, for some reason, since day one, just always look at them as boys. I don't know why. So I just call them he, but some could be he's, some could be she's at this point.
Right.
I'm not sure anymore. But basically, I get this question a lot. Like, is it okay if I introduce my new hermit crab to my other hermit crabs, or this hermit crab's much bigger than my original small one? Like, will he be okay?
Right.
And hermit crabs in the wild of all sizes get along. They're all friends. They love company. They're very social creatures. So size does not matter when it comes to hermit crabs. But what does matter is making sure you have plenty of animal protein in their diet. Without enough animal protein, they might resort to cannibalism.
Okay.
Because not out of like, oh, I don't like you, I'm going to eat and kill you now. It's out of, I won't I need to for survival.
Yeah,
Like I
look out
need
for
to eat
number one.
animal protein to survive. So they will resort to cannibalism if they don't have the proper nutrients such as animal protein in their diet. And they can also do shell jackings if there's not enough shells provided or the right kind of shells proper to their size available. They might shell jack their tank mates because, hey, I need this shell, give it to me. Um, so they might get territorial over shells. So it's very important we provide plenty of shells of various sizes for all of them. And also space, like climbing and hiding accessories. It's important that these hermit crabs all can feel safe during the day because, like I said, they're natural animals of prey, and they're nocturnal. So during the day, they want to hide, they want to feel safe, secure, snuggle, and away from any possible predators. Even though there's no predators here, just their
Right.
instincts for survival, they want to feel safe. So it's important that we have plenty of space, such as the 10-gallon per crab rule, lots of hiding spots so they can all comfortably live among each other and feel safe and not compete with each other.
So have you had any dilemmas? Is that, I mean, I'm sure because like getting more and more aware, like growing with
Mhm.
the information and being a crab owner and everything, you kind of like learn more things. But has
Yeah.
there been any instances where you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, I need to fix
Yes.
this?
When I was a very early beginner, like within the first few months of having my hermit crabs, um, Norton, I've run into troubles with Norton. He is the alpha of the group since day one. He's a very assertive, dominant personality. So when I didn't really have the proper care set up in the beginning, I think I had a 20-gallon tank for four of them, and that's incorrect. And I know their diet wasn't where it was supposed to be, not enough shells, etc. They weren't in one of those tiny wired cages. They at least had a tank, sand, water, etc. So that was good, but I was giving less than the bare minimum still. Norton was very territorial. He made it clear to the others who was in charge. He would shell jack others. He would get aggressive with others, not to like hurt them or kill them, but there is a natural pecking order sometimes with your hermit crabs, and Norton made it clear he was at the top. So I would get a little stressed out about Norton and if he was going to possibly harm any of the others, but at the end of the
Right.
day, it was my fault because I wasn't providing the proper care and I simply didn't know yet. I just thought Norton was just not a nice hermit crab
Yeah,
to
being
the
a little
others, where he
sassy.
he was like he liked to be the only child, but he is best friends with them now. Like they all just they literally snuggle together. They all get along. They share dinner together. I just wasn't providing the proper resources at the time. So
Right.
I love to be able to help other beginners so that doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
And I I always say like I wish I had my videos when I was a beginner. So I want to be that for other beginners because it would have helped me so much and probably sped up my process to where I am now
Yeah.
rather than more of a slow moving process to get to the level I am now. So I am so grateful that I'm able to help so many people. So the same things I struggled with as a beginner, hopefully they can just skip over that part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, especially with starting your own journey, you
Mm-hmm.
tend to buy a ton of stuff that ends up being like not used or not helpful, and you have to
Yeah.
get new things or it breaks or whatever. So you spend so much
Yep.
more money versus like having that pamphlet and a manual and basically like, okay, I need to get this, to this. I need to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and this. And like, yes, you'll like figure things out as you go and learn your own ways, but like the essential proper care and maintenance that you're, providing to people can save them a lot of money and can save them a lot of
Yeah.
time and frustration for sure.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the pet stores like Petco, PetSmart, or even the beach shops, what they market for hermit crab care is most of it's just completely wrong, incorrect, or bad for them.
Yeah.
So people are spending a lot of money thinking they're getting what they need for their hermit crabs, and unfortunately, what they're buying just won't do for proper care. And it's not their fault, it's because the stores they trusted
Right.
told them otherwise.
Misinforming.
So I literally made an entire basic necessity care guide, which I also linked to my bio for people to use, with links to everything,
That's sick.
to like basically a check sheet for what to get
Yeah.
if you're going to start out for hermit crabs. So I try to push people to look at that instead of but if you're thinking of getting a hermit crab, look over this list, and
Yeah.
if you're still interested after looking at this list,
Right.
here's everything you need, because the pet stores and stuff kind of they dumb it down, make it sound simple, not as expensive as it actually is to take care of them. And I just think it's very frustrating and unfortunate for people that genuinely want to take care of these animals,
Yeah.
but are being led a different direction that isn't the way to do it.
It's almost like fish, like my mom has fish, and being in the marine biology field and seeing all of these fish that are actually in pet stores that are in real life, right? You're heartbroken because you also realize that half the stuff that they advertise for like capital gains and whatnot is made of such acrylic paint or like things that chip and wear over time, and then it gets like absorbed into the water and it becomes toxic. Or like your hermit crabs, like you were saying, with the nail color, and then it being painted on their shells, and then that's probably going into their skin somehow because it is connected, and like that is not good for them, not good for us, but like we do it in a different way, but it's still not good for us. So it's like it's crazy how the advertising is, because it's almost like you're just doing it for decoration and then the pet's just for fun.
Yep. Yep. The painted shells are 100% to market to kids, like the Spider-Man shells, the SpongeBob shells, and the paint's just toxic to them.
And it sucks because they do such a good job with marketing. I mean, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, it's so great. Like, I love it. But it's still consumerism. Most of the stuff isn't good for the planet. Most of the stuff is like misinforming or misadvertising, because half the dog food is like actually made of random fillers and whatnot. And you're like, okay.
Half our food is just not even.
Yeah, period. So I also love the space that we're in now, right? Because I was like, oh, I feel like if I were to be reborn in a different period, it would be like in the 1800s with the cute umbrellas and like the cute clothes. But the one thing I'd get rid of is the corset. And I'm like, no, actually, right now is fantastic, because the health and the awareness and like being more aware of our feelings and being more aware of like environmental factors, or like the conscientious sentient beings of like crabs and dogs and like everything, just having that period is where I'm thriving. Like, I love it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
And I feel like I'm probably manifesting it for you, but I feel like you could totally build a company that provides like those sources, those links, not necessarily like creating that as you have to pay for it, but the links of like products that you approve for hermit crabs.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I am starting my own business. So.
Oh my god, I love it!
And it's going to be called Norton's Nest.
I'm so here for it. That's so sick. Yes.
Basically, I'll give a little summary. It'll be launched probably in the next 2 months. I'm hoping by the end of the year. But basically, there's a bunch of reptile brands. There's a bunch of fish and aquatic brands. There's no hermit crab brand out there. And I plan to be that. And I plan to be a resource to all these people that are looking to buy hermit crabs, and instead of shopping from the reptile section or the fish section, which do have things that can be tailored towards hermit crab care, but it's not for hermit crabs. So I want to be that brand that can give you everything you need to properly take care of your hermit crabs, to be a resource, just all of that. That's the vision.
Dude, I'm getting so excited for you. Like, that's so sick. That is so awesome.
So, period. I know what I want to do with my life. I have to find a way to survive off of it, obviously. But I really just want to take it and run. I don't want to sit at a computer 9 to 5 every day doing something I don't care about.
I hear you.
When I believe that, life's short. I'm here once.
Right.
I got to do it.
Like, you got to do stuff that you're interested in, and like this cookie cutter sheet that we've been presented our whole lives by our parents and everyone else, just doesn't work for us, and it doesn't have to work for us. Okay, so you have 5. So tell me their ages, and then I'm sure the wildlife they can. I don't really know. Because typically, captivity, things live longer just because it's so concentrated on like what's given to them. But I think it really just depends, right? Because dogs, depending on what they're given, nowadays, like with raw food diets, they can live so much longer than like what we actually have. So, what are their ages, and then wildlife versus captivity?
Yeah, so with hermit crabs, unless you actually captive breed them yourself and you like hatch them, you can't accurately tell their age, unfortunately. But if I had to guess, Norton, for example, who I've had for a little over 7 years, I always guess he's probably near 15ish, 15ish years old.
Oh my god.
If I had to guess.
Norton.
But hermit crabs in the wild can live up to 50 years.
No way.
Yeah. And people don't always know that because, again, they're marketed as like easy pets that live maybe a year. And unfortunately, with like all the improper care out there, when you have hermit crabs, like they live a few days, weeks, months, maybe a couple years because people aren't properly taking care of them. And that's not even their fault necessarily. It's, again, how they're marketed and how they're perceived. So, but in the wild, they can live decades. And in captivity, if you do it right, they also can live decades. There's this one case, his name, he's no longer alive, I don't think, but he lived around 50 years with his owner. His name was Jonathan Livingston Crab. And down in Florida with this really sweet lady, and he lived decades with her. Like, I think high 40s, very close to 50 years with her. So that's the goal.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's the dream.
And I feel like, too, with them being so small, you don't really think about it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a turtle, you know? I mean, tortoises, that's a different story. But, like, turtles live so long. Even some, like, parrots live so long. And just because they're smaller, we don't, like, necessarily think that they might live that long, like how a bigger animal would, but they do. They do. And hermit crabs can reach the size of, like, a softball, actually. It's
really,
like, if you think about it, like, it's pretty big. I saw one in the wild in the Florida Keys this summer, a giant one, like the biggest hermit crab I've ever seen in my life in person.
Oh my
it was
gosh,
crazy.
That
so one sick. Had to be near 50.
I bet you're just so happy when you saw that.
That was one of my biggest dreams in life. I went down to Crustacean Plantation in the Florida Keys, saw hermit crabs in the wild, and I was on cloud 9. That's all I've ever wanted.
That's so sick. I know you said you don't know the ages of the crabs, but I know that over time you said that as they grow, you have to get different shells. Is there a certain size that they get to that's kind of, because I know you're still learning in the journey, and obviously you haven't gotten to a certain part where you really know, I guess, but do you know if they get to a certain size and then they kind of stop? You said
Yeah, the biggest I think they get is around a softball size.
Okay.
There are like shell shops you can buy from out there, with big boy shells, and they're pricey shells. So
I can imagine.
The bigger they get, the more expensive they're gonna get. But right now the size of mine are probably, let me try to think of a fruit that I could compare them to. Probably like a lemon.
Okay.
A lemon. Maybe a lemon.
All right. Wow. So, and I'm sure they're probably in the hundreds, aren't they? Like 100 something, or are they?
I haven't really looked at the exact prices, but I know they're like per shell, I've seen like $30 something. And if you think about it, you have to have like, the rule of thumb is also like 5 shells per hermit crabs.
Okay.
So one hermit crab for 5 shells, 5 times 30 is $150 for one hermit crab for shells. But that's just speaking if a shell was $30. They could be a little less, they could be more.
Right.
So down the road, I'm going to have to find like a trust fund for their shells. So But right now we're good. I have plenty of shells, but they're growing. Every molt they grow, so.
And I'm sure with this, platform, right? There's going to be a lot of people that continuously follow you, and you're just going to get
Mm-hmm.
bigger and bigger. And that's going to inspire somebody out there to, whether they want to like create things as a company for themselves for hermit crabs, like something they've always wanted to do, and then they start sending you that stuff to try it out, see if you like it, and then you kind of
Mm-hmm.
get all that rolling in. Oh, I see
Yep.
it. I see it coming
I've
to
been
fruition.
very grateful and lucky to, in the hermit crab world, there's a bunch of really good food vendors out there that make hermit crab food, basically, which you can't find in pet stores or anything. They sell toxic pellets, which won't do. You
Oh,
can feed hermit crabs fresh food, such as like meats and fruits and veggies, but the hermit crab food vendors are a huge game changer for hermit crab care and their proper diets. And I have been so lucky to become friends with a lot of them, and they have sent me their food. I have so much hermit crab food; it's not even funny.
that's
Like
sick.
they eat so much better than I will ever. But I have been sent stuff from these shops, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I am so happy to be able to promote their shops so my followers and other fellow hermit crab beginners, or not even beginners, anyone who has hermit crabs can utilize these shops and up their hermit crab care. I think it's such a great thing, such a game changer, and I'm so like grateful I get to promote that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I, like when we got Blue Monday last week, so
Mm-hmm.
he was in the shelter for 8 months. We just rescued him. He's a dog.
Yeah.
So we were on this trend of like, okay, I want to give him the raw food diet, but also with where I'm at right now, it has to be like kind of somewhat pulled back. And so we started out with, granted, we didn't have his kibble that night. So we had to give him like canned chicken and rice. And Ben was like, I want to give him quinoa because it's better for him. And I'm like, what dog wants quinoa? And he's like, what
Yeah.
dog wants rice? And I'm like, okay, rice is pretty good, but whatever. So you can give him quinoa. So, but there's certain things about the raw dog food diet that like I wouldn't have known, but you can actually mess them up because of the lack of nutrition in certain things or overloading or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And like you were saying, like with these vendors, you're able to kind of get all of those nutrients that they need
Yeah,
because especially with the pellets, like that's nothing that they need. And you get
exactly.
like blue squid or blue octopus, what was it?
Yeah, it's called a complete meal. So a complete meal has like all that they need in their diet in just one meal. And that complete meal was called blue octopus. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I forget all the ingredients because there's so many good ones,
Right.
but they come up with really cute name titles and stuff. But they have like, they eat uh, alligator, they have kangaroo,
No way.
squirrel, deer, cow, bison, like all calamari. Like they eat so much better than
Interesting.
anyone. That like it's just I'm so jealous, but they really have a 5 star. I deserve a Michelin star. That's all I'm saying.
You do. I saw it on Discovery yesterday. These crabs, there was a fish, and these crabs were all coming together to cover the fish completely because this catfish was trying to take their dinner. And they were able
Oh
to kind of get rid of the catfish because they covered it, right? But they eat all this stuff. Like you said, steak. You gave them steak the other day. I thought it was like, okay, maybe it's, like crab steaks. Like it's
yeah.
food that is high quality and like really, really high protein and whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
it's literal steak.
No, they just eat the steak. That
Oh my
it's they
gosh.
love it too. They love it.
Wow. So, how do you, I guess, like, how do you know that they would even remotely do well with kangaroo or maybe alligator, because that's kind of in their environment, but like things that aren't in their environment,
Yeah.
how do you know that they'd be susceptible to it in a positive way versus like,
Yeah. So for example, like the kangaroo and alligator, I don't have that in my kitchen, unfortunately, but I get it from these hermit crab food vendors. And these food vendors put so much time and research and care, and they're
yeah,
also fellow hermit crab owners themselves. And a lot of them are, it's called Lycos approved. Lycos is LHCOS, the Land Hermit Crab Owner Society.
Okay.
And so when you're approved by them as an approved seller, like you're good to go. You have the credibility, like like you're good. So basically those sellers, they are approved for a reason. They have the right foods, the right quality stuff, organic, and the research has been done. And hermit crabs are natural scavengers in the wild. So anything that washes up or is left on the ground, they will eat, especially when it comes to like animal protein. Any like dead carcass that has meat, they will eat.
Wow.
So animal protein's a very key nutrient. Like animal protein should be almost majority of their whole meal.
Okay.
Their meal should be 50% protein ingredients, and then majority of those protein ingredients being animal protein. So it's also important to mix up their meals every night, have lots of variety. So that's where I think these shops are getting really clever with different animal protein options, such as alligator or kangaroo, or, I mean, venison's not that out of the ordinary, but squirrel. Like, who would think to feed a hermit crab a squirrel? But
Right.
they love it. It's great nutrients for them, and they enjoy it. So,
That's so sick. So that was actually what I was going to ask you about, the nutrition pyramid, because I saw you gave, I think, a little bit of apple. I know the raisins.
yep,
Like,
yep.
so are these things that your various sources kind of helped you navigate onto like what they love and
Yeah, so by being so exposed to these like hermit crab vendors with all these amazing food options, nutrients, ingredients, by using them, I have learned what can I use for my own kitchen. Um, so whatever fruit, like fresh fruits I have, or if I have steak for dinner one night, of course, without any seasoning or any of that, I will give it to them because I know these approved sellers use that in their meals and mixes. So that's helped me navigate like what other foods to use. And the hermit crab food pyramid, um, it goes animal protein, plant protein, fats, calcium, fruits, veggies, and harvestables.
wow.
And like I said, most of it should be protein ingredients, and most of those ingredients being animal protein. And then lots of calcium to build their healthy exoskeletons. And fats are important. And of course, got to get their fruits and veggies in and their harvestables. Harvestables are like the leaf litter or different like rose hips or marshmallow root. I'm just thinking of stuff off the top
Yeah,
of my head that I feed them. But
that's wild.
um, yeah, they eat like kings if you do it
So
right.
how often a day do you feed them?
I so most of all their food basically is freeze dried from
Okay.
these food vendors, and that's like I don't just have a rotting squirrel carcass in my closet or anything. Like, it's freeze dried, like grounded up meals. And so I will replace their dinners like every other day since it's freeze dried food. It's not like gonna go bad overnight.
Right.
But it's important that you mix it up and freshen it up like a few times a week at least. If I feed them fresh food like steak or mango or a piece of apple, I'm gonna replace that daily because fresh food in a very humid environment,
Gonna get
want
moldy.
that we don't want that to marinate in there. But yeah, so they get a new dinner basically like every other day. I'll mix it up.
And I know you said, I mean, Norton's bigger, right? So he'll probably have
Mm-hmm.
to eat more, but I mean, it could vary with them being in the same tank. I know Norton's molting, so he's in a separate tank, but with them being in
Yep.
the same tank, typically, and you monitoring how much one eats, how much do you? Because I know it's kind of like a paint palette. You know, you put it in the
Yeah,
different things.
exactly.
So how do you just kind of vary and see what is being eaten more and how much you put in, or
Yeah, so their appetites, like if they're getting ready to molt, for example, you'll see that one eating a lot more than maybe the others are because they're preparing to molt to be underground for a long time. Um, but when it comes to feeding all them together, they are very intuitive eaters. They don't just eat like how we eat, like,
right?
oh, I'm gonna watch a movie, let me get popcorn. They'll eat only what their body needs. So if they need more calcium, they're going to eat the calcium. If they need some more fat, they're going to focus on the fat. They're very intuitive eaters.
Wow.
So that's why it's important to provide that complete meal so they have all the options for what their body will need.
Okay. That's
yeah,
so
but
cool.
they all share great. Like they don't the plate never really gets fully cleared, but it sometimes looks like a tornado just went through the plate, and that's an obvious sign that they enjoy dinner.
Oh, good. Wow, that's really cool. We have some things to learn from them because I definitely could be an intuitive eater for sure.
Oh, I could too, but I don't think I can be.
Okay, so with cleaning, like maintenance care and cleaning, how often do you have to clean the tank?
Yeah, so once a week I'll do what I call tank maintenance, and that's just doing a few like routine cleaning activities for them. So I'll take out their water pools, completely empty them out, and just rinse them out with water and dry them. I have bubblers in my pools, which keeps the water cleaner for longer.
Oh, cool.
So I only have to do that once a week, and then I'll just refill as needed. I also add more leaf litter, so they have like a fresh coat to mimic that forest floor. I will, of course, replace dinner during this and replace any of their foraging mixes, such as I keep worm castings in a little dish. They love to eat and play in that. Sounds so fun, playing in worm castings, but they love it. And they have other mixes like green sand and crushed oyster powder.
Wow.
I'll just refill those as needed. And that's basically all I do for tank maintenance. I'll like pick up anything like leftover food that like sometimes they'll run away with a piece of food to go eat by themselves. So I'll have to find that and take that out so it doesn't like rot on top of the sand.
Right.
But and I'll just clean up anything that they knock over. So I'm just doing like very basic maintenance. But when it comes to like fully cleaning out the entire tank, you don't have to replace any of the sand, like the substrate or anything, unless you have a flooding problem, a bug problem such as like ants, or like fungal bloom outbreak.
Okay.
A really bad mold problem.
Right.
Or if you're just simply upgrading, changing tanks out. But yeah, I never have to like do a full clean out.
Oh, cool. That's fantastic. Yeah.
That would be when I do have to do that. It is an entire day project.
Yeah,
it is.
I can
imagine.
It
is a long process.
Oh my gosh! So I know that you have like little plant decor in there and everything, and I'm sure, right, that plastic is probably easier to maintain or whatever. Do you have any live plants in there, or is that something you're wanting to do?
Yeah, I have little chia seed gardens that I'll grow for them. They also eat chia seeds. Okay. It's a good plant protein source, but they also love to play in the chia seed gardens and snuggle in them. There are certain live plants you can grow. It's just a little tricky with hermit crabs because first you need to make sure it's a safe plant, right, that they could eat and be around. And second is the roots of the plant. You don't want them like spreading throughout the substrate because that could mess up someone molting underground. It could go into their burrows or their holes, and cause issues with the molters.
Interesting.
You could technically keep them, I guess, in pots above ground, but again, you'd have to do the right research to find the right plants and, of course, grow them. And I know hermit crab, they're notorious for being like tornadoes in the tank. Like they will destroy like that plant probably. So it wouldn't be a long-lived plant for sure. Right. But I have looked into it, but right now I'm just doing chia seed gardens because they seem to love
it. It sounds so not fairy tale like, but it's just like chia seed garden. Like it's just it's so exactly. Cute. Do you ever have times where you see their little tunnels on the side of the window?
Yeah. Sometimes when they're or when one's going down under to molt and they're making their tunnels, they'll come to the glass and I'll just see them in their little tunnel hanging out basically.
Oh my gosh.
But they'll eventually move because they want to be in complete like darkness for that. So they'll move on elsewhere, but I'll see them. It's cute. Yeah.
And so you said Norton's in a separate tank because he's molting. How long is the molting process?
So hermit crabs molt depending the length of it will depend on their size. So the bigger the hermit crab, the longer a molt. but also the less frequent a molt. So Norton, for example, he's a big boy. His molt will be longer, but also only like maybe once, maybe twice a year. Compared to Steely, who's a lot smaller, he will molt more times a year, but it won't take as long.
Really?
But molting on average can take like a month to 2 months, but sometimes less, sometimes more.
Wow. That's quite a bit, because you don't get to see them.
Yeah, it's a stressful time for an owner.
Because is there anything, when you say stressful, is it possible that they don't make it, or?
Yeah, so a statistic I saw, I'm pretty sure it was like 90% of crustaceans die when they molt.
Wow.
So like that's like their common way to go, it seems like. And I know molting's like, it's a very fragile process. It's how they grow, but it's also like if something goes wrong, something unfortunately just goes wrong.
Yeah.
So that possibility is always there. I'm pretty sure besides my beginner hermit crabs where I didn't know what I was doing 7 years ago, others that I've lost along the way, I've lost to molting. So it's unfortunately just, it's a possibility that could happen to a molter, but it's also just the way it is for crustaceans, it seems, with that high of a percentage. But Norton will come up soon. He's chill.
That's sick. So when did he go down?
He went down a few months ago.
No way.
Yeah. It's been a little bit, but he's a big boy.
He's big, yeah.
And he's just growing, and he'll just come up a unit basically, so.
Oh my gosh, I feel like he's so robust too. Like nothing's gonna take him
out. Like he's so good. Yeah.
Okay, so you said that you wanted to get more. Is there, because I feel like with expansion and how you're constantly like, this is like your thing, this is your passion, you're using it as a platform too, like it's something that you're doing as a hustle, as a job as well, right? So do you think you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, this is as much as I can handle right now, like with how many crabs you have? Or because I was going to ask before you mentioned that if you're at a point where you're not going to get any more for a little bit, or
I'll only ever get more if I can handle it / provide the proper setup and resources. I would definitely be okay getting more for my 40-gallon tank. Having the tank is half the battle anyways. Okay. So I already have the tank.
Yeah.
But my dream in life anyways is to have a hermit crab sanctuary, or like one of my dreams is to have just like greenhouses so I can just rescue hermit crabs and just.
Oh my god, it's like a butterfly sanctuary where you go in and they're just there.
But for hermit crabs.
I love that.
It'll just be a tropical Caribbean paradise inside these greenhouses where I can just adopt / rescue hermit crabs that need
so
homes.
Amazing. Wow, look at you go, Janie.
That's the big goal. Yeah. That's way down the road.
But of course, like, just even envisioning it and then talking about it and having confidence in talking about it is halfway there, right? And I know it sounds like, well, is it halfway there? But it is, because you see it coming to life. Like, this is something that you would love to have. You talk about it, maybe not often, right? But we just talked about it. So it's something that is going to come to fruition eventually. And I feel like a lot of the times, like, people just don't believe in themselves no matter what the thing is. Like, yours is so niche driven, right? That we said.
Yeah.
I feel like if you didn't create this space, it probably wouldn't have happened. On top of that, so many people are doubters, right? And they're like, I don't know how you're going to do that, but good luck. But you did, and then people are interested, and like, you're still going after it. But it's not like ridiculous. Like, it doesn't sound ridiculous to me. Does that make sense? Like, it's
no, 100%.
The sanctuary just sounds so freaking cool, and I already want to go, type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's
100%.
sick. Do you know if you're wanting to stay in the Jersey area? Is this something where you're like, this is home, I want to stay here? Or are you more of like a traveler? Like, what are your
Um,
thoughts?
I'm like all over the spectrum on that because like while I'm in my 20s, I definitely want to travel, but that's like I guess unrelated to hermit crabs. But I want to travel places where
Right.
they're native though. That's why I went. A part of the reason I went to the Florida Keys this past summer. Um, but in New Jersey, I think I would love to open one in New Jersey because with the Jersey Shore and just like how populated the area is, there's like an abundance of hermit crabs that always need homes here.
Right.
And the beach shops at the end of the season, what they do with the hermit crabs sometimes is questionable. So being able to take in those at the end of the season, that would be great.
Yeah.
But also, I'd love to have a house in the Florida Keys one day.
Yeah.
So
Just putting it out there, you know.
yeah, nothing big.
That's awesome. That's so sick. And I'm so, so glad that just one day was on Instagram and I scrolled and I'm like it literally took me 2 seconds. I saw your video and I'm like, oh my God, I have to reach out to her. Like this, like I want to talk about this. This is so sick and it's so niche driven. And there's not, like I said, like my podcast, there's not a bunch of podcasts out there that talk about the environment. And hopefully, you know, mine may not be big and it's not intentionally just made to be big, but it's made hopefully inspiring others to go after something that is niche driven or is environmentally, you know, impactful or whatever that's not typically seen as possible, and do something with it or open a platform. And there's so much more talking about it. And yours is going to be the same way. You're going to be the face of the hermit crab, not necessarily doubting other hermit crab companies or anything, but yours is kind of like pulling all that together.
Yeah.
That is sick. That is so sick.
Well, you're doing the same thing, and I think that's sick. So,
you know, we're just
look
out
at
here.
us.
We're just out here. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I enjoyed it so much. It was such a good conversation.
Yeah, I know. I love talking to this about you. I feel like you know more about hermit crabs than you're giving yourself credit for, or you did a lot of research.
You know what's funny though is that I was telling some of my friends, you know, I'm going to have Janie Groeling on. We're going to talk about hermit crabs. She's a hermit crab advocate, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because when I was younger, I had a hermit crab and it didn't do well. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
That is, and I was one of those kids too.
Yeah.
Like we've all been, like most kids growing up around here have had hermit crabs. It's just the fact, but it's not our fault. But we need people like how I'm doing now to speak up and advocate for them, and hopefully the younger generations can learn more that we unfortunately were not able to.
Right. And it's like, okay, the grace period. So knowing that, you know, we may not have been as good as we are now, but we were doing our best in the moment and knowing what we knew and knowing that we can't really do anything about the past, but making our voices heard and talking about something that we feel is important and needs to be spoken up for is worth the while.
Like, exactly.
Yeah. So being an individual, we can make a difference. Just like we can make terrible things and negative impacts, we can make positive impacts just as
exactly much. Yep.
Yeah. Period. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope all of my listeners and everyone goes out to her page and sees her TikTok, sees her Instagram, looks through her links and sources. And if you're interested in looking at getting a hermit crab, always try to adopt and rescue before going to a pet store or someone on the beach shops, because when you purchase from them, you are supporting them. You're voting with your dollar, just like anything else you buy. You make them feel like what they're doing is okay and worth it because they make money off of it. So try to go to rescues, or
there's adoption groups on Facebook, and also
through your sources.
I have adoption resources linked in my bio as well.
Check out the caption as I've attached all the links and handles to Janie Groeling's post. Thank you guys so much for listening today. I am so, so grateful I got to have her on, as she is such an amazing person, impactful, driven, and just creating waves on another level, helping these species, crabs. Who would have known? A niche that's never been done before, and she's doing it. And that's what I love, is when people go after their dreams and make things into a reality, and it's so far out there that people would have never thought that this could happen. And I am so happy for her and her future that she has in store. Also, whoever's listening right now, you, yes, you. If you have some dream, something that's so far left, that's out of the blue, that people don't support, go after it. Make it a thing. Jeff Bezos did, and he is one of the richest men alive. And he started something that no one believed in. Having overnight shipping of something you bought online, that was not realistic. And yet it is a everyday thing here in America. So, good things take time. Don't forget that. Write things down. Every idea that you get, no matter how silly you think it is a fuel to the fire, and it helps continuously show you more and more ideas. And next thing you know, you will be going after something you truly are passionate in. So speaking of support, it would greatly benefit me as a podcast creator to leave a review and know how I am doing as a host, how the content is resonating with you, and reach out to those that aren't a part of the Happily Living crew yet that could greatly benefit. Because coding is a wonderful thing, so reviews can make a huge impact in a trifecta way. But at the end of the day, this is about peacefully coexisting, learning how our actions make a huge impact, and how our mental health and well-being is all coincided with our natural environment. So thank you guys so much. And don't forget to check out the links, as it is a wonderful platform that is cultivated all in one area by Janie herself, with the trusted resources that she loves and goes to for guidance, nutritional needs, or even just education as a whole. Whether you are a hermit crab owner, you'd like to be, or you know someone that is in either of those positions. Thank you guys so much as we continue on our journey. December 18th will be the next drop, with love and light.